Welcome to the 46th tutorial in the series of Complete Guide to React.js. So in this tutorial, we are going to see what is Memo in React.js. In the previous tutorial, we have seen what is pure components and we have applied the pure components for class components. Over here in Memo, what we are going to see is how to use Memo in functional components. So whatever the jobs that pure components does it for class components, the same thing Memo does it for functional components. So this means pure components is only applicable for class components and Memo is only applicable for functional components. So let me get into the code base, and over here what I am going to do is I am going to create a new file inside tutorial 44 and I am going to name it as memo.js, and inside memo.js I am going to mention RSF, which would generate a code snippet for functional components. And inside this functional components props, I'm going to destruct it with type. And over here inside the div, I'm going to mention memo, and the type, whichever that has been destructed, I'm going to mention it over here. Before the return method, what I am going to mention is I'm going to mention console.log, and inside that I am going to pass a string saying that I am getting rendered from memo. I'm saving it. And one more thing I just want to do it over here is a memo components, rather than exporting like usually, what we need to do is we have to mention react.memo and then we have to export it. So while using this code, you also have to make sure in your package.json the React component is more than 16.2 or it is equal to 16.2. So this is some of the hooks concepts, and over here I am going to mention react.memo. I'm going to save it, and then getting into the shape component, I'm going to comment this particular code which I have already done and import memo over here. So in the last tutorial we might have used pure components, so I have also replaced that with the components over here in order to make sure the parent component is a regular component. So this is the initial state value and this is the set state value which is inside the component did mount. So what is happening is this component did mount is being used at the mounting phase as well as the updating phase. So it would infinitely get called. So while it is getting infinitely get called, we are going to see what console logs is going to show over there. So what is happening to the memo over here, like that we are going to see. I have saved it. Getting into the browser, make sure your browser is having a good connection because we are rendering the mounting phase, component did mount method infinitely, and it may take some time for your browser to get loaded. That is because your console.log statement, what it does is each and every 2 seconds it loads with the console messages, right? So it would be a bit slow, so do not worry about it that your application is not working like that. So I've right clicked and inspect. So it is taking so much amount of time. That is because for each and every 2 seconds, the console.log is getting returned. So I'm going to take a look at the console. So over here, what it is going to happen is at first, whenever it is getting rendered at the mounting phase, it is rendering the shape component, second memo components. And after that, you can see only shape component is getting rendered, memo is not getting rendered. That is because it is doing a shallow comparisons. It is doing a comparison with the initial value that is being set in the state, which is nothing but a component. And second time when you're setting the value, it is doing a shallow comparisons. And when it's doing the shallow comparison, it is one and the same. and hence it is not going to render the memo component. Whereas the shape component is just a regular component and it is going to be rendered each and every 2 seconds, which we have set as an interval over here. Say for example, if I am converting this component to a pure component, because this is a class component, right? So I'm going to compare this to, I'm going to change it to a pure component, saving it, taking a look at the browser. Right now, it has to refresh. So once it is refreshed, right now you can able to see it would be rendered only once. That is because shape component is a pure component which is applicable for the class component, and memo is applicable for the functional components. Right now, for every 2 seconds, it is doing a shallow comparisons. Shape component is a pure component and hence it is not re-rendering it, and memo is also not getting re-rendered. That's it from this tutorial. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to subscribe, and in case of any doubts and queries, please post that in the comment sections. I will reach you as soon as possible. And one more thing is, I'm going to place the code memo.js in tutorial 45 in GitHub, and I'm also going to share you the path as well. Thanks for watching again. Have a nice day ahead.